Welcome to the Knowledge for Men show. Your life will never be the same.
Your level of success will seldom exceed your level of personal development.
I want to die empty of regret. I want to die empty of my best work. We don't understand who we are. Instead, we're living out somebody else's narrative.
What one man can do, another man can do. If it's been done, it can be done again.
Being yourself and being your truest, most authentic self in every moment. If it scares you or makes you a little afraid, do it. Follow your heart and your gut.
The first stage, I think, is finding you, like finding out who I am today.
Stuff will not work. You will have things that fail. Success is when you're a happy, fulfilled person. How do you define success?
It's your life, and you are the creator of the movie script that is your life story.
Hey guys, just wanted to offer you a free gift here as a part of being a listener of my show. If you go to kfmfree.com, you can get the top 30 books and top 30 success quotes that every man must live by. So obviously every show we talk about books and we talk about success quotes. And so I've compiled the best of the best out of the last 100 episodes into a short guide. So kfmfree.com and it's all yours. All right, guys, welcome to the show. I'm here with Neil Patel. He's a Seattle-based entrepreneur, angel investor, and analytics expert. He's best known for his work in digital marketing and as the co-founder of the analytics companies Kissmetrics, Crazy Egg, and QuickSprout. Neil, happy to have you here on the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's dive in with a favorite success quote of yours or some sort of saying that you've lived by that's helped you on your journey.
Sure. So with me, I remember my uncle, when I starting out my career as an entrepreneur, he used to tell me, right, before I started making money, before I started losing money, etc., he always told me that, hey, when things are looking good, always remember that someone else out there has it better than you. And when things are looking bad, keep in mind that there's people out there that have it much worse than you. So that as an entrepreneur has helped me stay very level-headed. And it's helped me not be too emotional. And in business, emotions don't mix really well. So his quote, his saying, what he taught me at a young age, has helped me stay level-headed. So then that way when I'm making decisions, I'm not thinking based off of emotions.
Yeah, I can see that. And like even at your place right now, you're probably surrounded by even a lot of other higher level people. And so I can see how that would play a role in helping you kind of stay level headed and focused on where you're at. And also even people below you who are up and coming.
Exactly, right? So no matter where you are in your life, it just helps you stay level headed.
Yeah, I like that. Let's learn a little bit more about you, Neil, and how you got started with what you do. So if you could take us and walk us through your story of how you got started in the digital marketing space and entrepreneurship.
Yes, when I was a kid, I started a website. It was a job board. Now with this job board, I thought that when you create a website, people naturally come to it and you start making money. Keep in mind, I was 16 years old when I launched this website, or 15 and a half. It was sometime around there. And I made $0 in income. But I learned that, hey, if you want to succeed online, you got to drive visitors to your site. I didn't have much money, so I had to learn how to do it myself. I got pretty good at it. And I realized that I had a passion for driving traffic to websites and just getting people to convert online from visitors to customers. From there, I started a consulting shop and I started helping other people with their digital marketing efforts.
That's the story in a nutshell. What, you said at a young age you started a company, 15 years old. Like, why did you start a company? What was the reasoning? Why not just go get a job somewhere? And why a job board?
I was a little kid. I didn't know how to get a high-paying job, and I wanted to be rich. High-paying at that time, what I was trying to get was $100,000 a year. Most of the jobs required a college degree. I was searching on the internet for jobs, but all the jobs that I was looking at that paid really well required a college degree. But the site that I was looking on for a job was monster.com. And monster.com, I don't know if they still are, but at that time they were a publicly traded company and they were doing really well. That's why I decided to create a job board, because I was like, wait, they do hundreds of millions in revenue? If I copy them and I do 1% of what they make, I'll be rich. And that was my model.
So even if you just had 1%, you thought you can create this. Did this job board website actually, did it amount to anything once you learned how to drive traffic?
No, because at that time I didn't know how to convert visitors into customers. I later on learned that skill set, but I didn't know that at the beginning.
Got it. And then from that, once you learned these skills, you went and created different agencies and different companies to help other people do the things that you learned how to do.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah. And in that process, was that ever just scary for you? Were you ever scared of going into that space of just all by yourself? You're a young kid trying to teach these larger companies, no, look, this is how you do it. This is how you're going to drive traffic.
Well, you also have to keep in mind when you're young, you're usually naive, right? You don't necessarily know what's best for you or how the world works. So there is no fear. As a kid, I also didn't have a mortgage payment, rent payments, car payments, or any of that. During my times, people at my age didn't even have cell phones. So I was like, what do I have to worry about?
Yeah. So the risk is very low for you here. You just mentioned a lot of really good opportunities that a lot of younger people and that have, like, they don't have these mortgages. They typically don't have kids. They don't have these high level responsibilities. So the ability for them to take risk is a lot higher. They can handle it. I feel like a common thing that a lot of people experience, though, is still like just that fear of starting something, that fear of looking stupid, that fear of failure and not being able to succeed. Like, what advice would you have for people listening who are in that space right now?
Well, when you're young, you shouldn't have much to fear. What's the best thing that can happen if you start a business when you're young? You succeed and you make money. What's the worst thing that can happen? Nothing happens. It's not like you put a ton of money into it. You're putting your time. You're a kid. You got to play basketball a bit less or hang out with your friends or watch a bit less TV. It's not like you have any bills or responsibilities to worry about, right? And even in the worst case scenario, you're still learning. You're still figuring out what works in this world, what doesn't, why you failed, what to do next time. You're buying yourself time and experience. See, what makes entrepreneurs succeed over the years, people have this big misconception that you have to be the smartest. Well, if you start young and you keep making mistakes and you learn from them, eventually, when you start a business maybe 10 years later and assuming you keep going, you'll know what not to do. And yeah, you may not create a multi-million-dollar business, but you'll still create something and you'll have a much better chance of succeeding than all those other people who are starting out for the first time.
Yeah. So what about advice for people who are much older and who don't have that ability to leverage their age, and maybe they do have kids, maybe they do have a mortgage and they are married?
Yeah, you can end up doing it. You just have to be much more cautious and analytical because you have a lot more to lose. But does it mean that you shouldn't be an entrepreneur? I disagree, right? You should just go and do whatever makes you happy. If that's what makes you happy, go and try to figure out a way to make it happen.
Yeah. This is the Knowledge for Men show. And often cases I interview different entrepreneurs and successful people. And a lot of people ask, like, why do you like interview so many entrepreneurs? Like, this is about being a man. But why I focus and I really embrace entrepreneurship is because it gives you that freedom. And I really believe at the core of every man is that will to be free, to live that life that you want. My question for you is, what drives you today after having done this for a number of years now and having created many successful companies? What is continuing to drive you once you've achieved that freedom? Like, what is there more that to drive you?
It's fun. I enjoy this. See, for me, it's like a passion. I enjoy working. When people are like, "Oh, what are you doing on the weekend?" I'm working. It's not like a job. I really do enjoy it, and that's what keeps driving me.
Are all of the things that you create, are these things that you enjoy working on? Do you ever find yourself just like you created something and then it turned into something like this ugly monster that consumed you?
Very rarely. That used to happen when I was a lot younger and I was starting my career. But these days I'm really picky on what I choose to do. And I make sure it's like, if I'm going to do it, I'm really passionate about it.
Yeah. Beyond the fun and the passion, what would you say is your why that keeps you going when the times are tough, when the risk is high at stake, and it's just maybe it's too much happening at once?
It's a game. It's like a scoreboard. It's the sport that never ends. So for me, it's like, can I beat everyone else?
When you look at business as a game, how does this change the frame? How does this change the mindset? your day-to-day actions in your business?
It doesn't. Well, I've never really had a 9-to-5 job, so I've always been an entrepreneur. So for me, my day is always a spin. You wake up, you work. Before you go to sleep, you work, right? And you keep repeating the process day in and day out.
Yeah. I could really letting that sink in. I just got back from an event in Las Vegas called Thrive, and the whole purpose of the event was making money and doing something that matters. And so they were talking about like having a purpose-driven business.
Of course, right? You don't ever want to do anything that you're not passionate about. You got to think about it. Entrepreneurship is tough. Most people don't succeed. If you don't really enjoy and love what you're doing, you're not going to put in the time and effort to really make the business succeed, and you're going to quit when things are rocky.
Yeah. And looking in at what you're doing, how would you want to give back? Like creating businesses, helping other people grow their businesses. Is there just looking at see if you connect with this with like what these guys are talking about. It was guys like Adam Braun, like the Pencils of Promise, other guys who have these companies, or they're like for-profit or non-profit companies that are doing good things. In your businesses, like, do you want to have a type of where you're giving back?
The way I see it is I'm helping other entrepreneurs, from the blogging to responding to emails to commenting. That's my form of giving back. And then personally, I'll figure out whatever causes I'm passionate about, and then I give back through that way.
Yeah. Just to kind of like wrestle with this idea, I'm definitely like, I think it's great what some of these other companies are doing, helping other people in third world countries. You've consulted with a lot of different companies and businesses and high level people. Do you ever feel like when they're kind of bringing up the topic of helping others, like, oh, like if you buy like Tom's shoes, for example, or if you buy this, like we'll donate to, this other company, where that's just really not the case, where they're really using that as a tool to just grow their business. It's really not about that purpose. Do you ever come across anything like that?
Yeah, I don't want to get into naming some companies, but of course, right? You always end up going out there and finding businesses, or a few businesses or two that aren't a good fit, and they're just trying to use charities and stuff like that just to try to make a quick buck. Yeah.
And no need to name any companies, just bringing that up to discussion. I just felt like there's a lot of need for people to want to like it's like social entrepreneurship or something popular. And so they're using it as a tool to grow their business. But so just kind of looking into like these businesses and companies that you've built, like, can you take us back to a time in your life when you've encountered some massive challenge on this journey and how you overcame that? Something that was like you're probably thinking about it right now, but maybe like the biggest challenge that you've experienced or been really faced with as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, so I remember a few years ago, 1.5, 2 years ago, maybe, I got an FTC investigation on class action lawsuit over data privacy. And we felt we weren't doing anything wrong. It was dealing with Flash cookies, which wasn't a major part. We did it because it saved on hosting costs. We didn't breach on people's privacy or sell data or anything, even though like Wired magazine claimed we did. And the FTC investigation passed with flying colors. They didn't find anything wrong. They even had their engineers from MIT look at the source code and stuff like that. But the class action lawyers were just trying to make a quick buck so they can fund one of their other cases. And they're like, if you sign over the rights to all your customers so we can sue them, we'll let you go. That was stressful, because when you're burning money as a company and you're venture backed, and the model is you keep growing fast and you make up money on the LTV, so a customer may stay for 3 years and you may lose money on year 1 and year 2, but it's okay because in the long run you make money. So you have to raise more. But when you start getting sued and things like that happen, no one wants to invest more, right? And you're still burning money. So it's tough to get through that. It's a good life experience. Learned quite a few lessons that media and stuff like that can really derail your company, and you have to watch all those little things. we could have just gone right through it by just signing over stuff to the lawyers, but where's the integrity in that, right? I'm not going to just let lawyers sue my customers to make a quick buck without going through me.
Yeah. And was that maybe like one of your first experiences where like you're focused you're so passionate about, building businesses, and you're so focused on the work and creating and helping businesses, and then comes like the lawyers and like these legal aspects where it's like, you kind of like takes your vision away, where you're kind of you're dealing with the FTC, you're dealing with lawyers, you're dealing with courts.
Yeah, you get used to it after a while, right? Like, everything in life and in business, you just have to deal with it and you go through with it. So it's like, you have to take everything with a grain of salt. You can't take anything personally. And you have to realize people don't have it really in for you, right? Like, they're just trying to figure out how to do what's best for them.
Yeah. And what was that like when Wired magazine and probably other major publications were writing about you? Like, how did you handle like the opinions of other people kind of like pointing fingers at you and the work that you guys are doing?
Yeah, it sucked at the beginning because a lot of it wasn't true. And when they do retractions and they modify their story, no one reads that, right? Everyone reads a story that went viral and covered on TV channels and like New York Times and all those places. But no one really covers the retraction.
Yeah. So kind of just going through it. I'm noticing like a lot of resilience just like in talking to you, and a lot of the challenges you're experiencing and just kind of like flowing through them. And I'm thinking that relates a lot back to the quote that you mentioned earlier. Someone has it worse off than you, and you're kind of in the center. It keeps you focused.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Now, I want to take you through part of the show I call the knowledge round. So just going to ask you some more rapid fire questions here to learn even more about yourself here.
All right. Sounds good to me.
All right, guys. If you're not reading books, then you're getting left behind. Somebody spent their entire life learning some invaluable lesson, and the best format that anyone could ever put it in is a book. It's the shortest, fastest, simplest way to consume content. So I know there are so many books available, and we talk about books all the time on the podcast. So there must be so many running through your head, and you're wondering, where do I begin? Well, I've compiled the top 30 books and success quotes from all of my guests in the last 100 episodes. So you can get them all for free. If you go to kfmfree.com, you can simply download the top 30 books that every man must live by. Again, that's kfmfree.com. Welcome to the Knowledge Round, where the guests will be asked rapid-fire questions to give the audience invaluable pieces of wisdom to help transform their lives. Starting in 3, 2, 1, showtime. So what I really noticed about your story is at a young age, you had a sense of kind of purpose, and even as you started to learn and grow in entrepreneurship and digital marketing, you knew what direction that you were going to go in, and I feel like having that purpose really takes you down a path, and you're really focused. But what advice would you give to someone who is feeling lost and really unsure of that purpose, kind of just bouncing from job to job or industry to industry?
Go find someone who you think was in your shoes and pick their brain and try to figure out what they did that changed their life. In essence, go find a mentor. And it may take you a while to find one. But sometimes the best way to figure out solutions to your problem is just ask other people who are in your same situation. Yeah.
And how would you suggest about reaching out to someone who is, I guess just like more influential or very busy, harder to get a hold of? What have you found works for you as you've risen in your career?
What I do is I just email them and try to help them out, and then I pick their brain after I help them out. But I always try to give before I ask.
Yeah, so just giving value before asking. Okay, and now what would you say was holding you back from becoming the man you are now today?
I don't think anything was specifically holding me back. It just took a while to realize that what works, what doesn't work, just time, right? You can put in a lot of effort into working hard and all that kind of stuff, but unless you figure out timing and learning from just experiences, you're not going to really achieve the results you want. See, everyone always looks at people who are successful like, oh, wow, look at them. They're overnight success. It's like, no, they put in 5-10 years into it. Like people look at Elon Musk and they're like, wow, what a successful guy. He is successful. He's done very well even before Tesla. He had 2 other businesses that sold. He even had one before PayPal that sold in the hundreds of millions. But what most people don't realize is, look how much time it took for him to get to where he is, right? Things don't just happen overnight. And with time comes experiences and knowledge. And you learn from those experiences and even mistakes.
Yeah, I really like that idea of playing the long game. And, people are looking for that overnight success or really trying to get success within 3 months or even within a year or so. What was I reading? It was like LeBron James, like people like, oh, he got drafted right out of high school and was instantly just this all-star. But if you look at his story, like he's got like 16 years of basketball experience of being coached, and of just all he was doing was playing basketball every day, day in, day out. So it's like that long game, like 15 years put in the work. And so I really like that you brought up Elon Musk. I mean, he has 3 successful companies now, but I mean, he's had way more even before that. And so he's definitely put in that time. So I really like that you brought that up. Earlier you talked about, like go find someone who has the result that you want, or a mentor in your life. Like, can you name a person who's really had a tremendous impact on your life, like such as a mentor?
Yeah, there's this guy named Andy Liu. He's taught me a lot of the principles and the concepts I know in business, like from things like how to negotiate to how to think about things when they're not in your favor, and how to be creative, like when you're getting sued, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And I know you probably do a ton of reading or have gone through quite a few books. What would you say are 2 or 3 of your most influential books, and why?
So I don't read too many books. I read more so a lot of websites, blogs. I watch a lot of news. Like I read like The Economist a few times a day, stuff like that. But for me, what has a huge impact on my life is just experiences from other people. Like even the History Channel, they'll talk about like Rockefeller and Carnegie and all these people and what they did, the mistakes they made, and the concepts in business that happened 50, 100 years ago, even 200 years ago. A lot of them are still similar today, right? You can leverage those concepts, those principles, and still apply them in today's world. And you can learn from those people who did well in the past. Yeah.
And you're talking about major players who shaped, the country, talking about Carnegie, Rockefeller. I find this really interesting. Like I've done, this will probably be like episode 210 or something. And so over 200 interviews. And what I'm seeing is like a lot of successful people, I'm not going to say all of them, but a lot like don't read. And I find that like a lot of like up and coming entrepreneurs or whatever it is that they're passionate about do a ton of reading. So I'm just noticing that shift. Like I recently saw Gary Vaynerchuk speak, and he said like I've only read like 4 books in my entire life. And he was like, who is this Napoleon guy? Like I have no idea who he is. And so I'm just seeing this trend. A lot of successful guys aren't reading. And you brought up a really good point. You said you just like I go out and I experience.
Yeah, but so a lot of people do read as well. Like Elon Musk reads a lot of books.
Oh, and I'm not going to say all like it's just no one. If you want to be successful, don't read. Like I'm a massive reader, but just a trend that I have seen just from doing so many interviews. It's like it's not just like everyone's reading.
Well, most of us don't have the time, right? I doubt Elon is reading a book every day. He doesn't have the time. If someone tells me they're reading 24/7, because it takes a while to read a book, it's like you're probably not spending that much time on their business.
Like pushing the needle forward in their business.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's just an interesting point that I've been wrestling with. Now, this next question is actually more of a scenario, and it goes like this. Like Neil, imagine if you had 60 seconds with 20-year-old Neil. What would you tell him to do, and what would you tell him not to do?
I'll tell him to focus. 20-year-old Neil tried to do too many ideas at once instead of focusing on just one and going all or nothing on it.
Yeah. I think that would really connect a lot with that kind of that purpose, or a lot of people are going from one thing to the other and not focusing on one thing and making that one thing great.
Yep.
What would you say is one underrated characteristic that you believe every person should work on?
One underrated characteristic. I think it's actually different for every single person. But if we're going to do something, most people just try to do, at least in business, I see a lot of people trying to create a business to make money. And money is great, but it's hard to say, I want to create a business and make money. It rarely ever happens. I don't care how smart you are. Usually someone's like, I want to create a business that solves a problem, or they find a problem like, I want to solve this, and a business is born from that. You got to focus on problems and solutions, making the solution easy enough, ideally affordable, and then you have a business. So don't just try to create something out of thin air because you want to. Really focus on solving problems.
Yeah, I like that. I think it really simplifies that. And now for this next question, even if you have to summarize some of your main points, that's okay. What would you say is your philosophy on life and success?
Just enjoy what you're doing. To me, people who are successful and are enjoying lives are the ones who are happy. Money isn't everything, right? You just have to figure out what makes you happy in life and focus on that.
Yeah, I like that. Keeping it simple. And so that's going to conclude the knowledge round there. Thank you. A lot of really good insights, Neil. What's driving you today? Like, what's really getting you out of bed in the morning?
I'm just having fun. I enjoy what I'm doing.
Yeah, cool. And so do you want to go ahead and give yourself a plug on how the audience can connect with you moving forward?
Yeah, you can just go to quicksprout.com or neilpatel.com, and my contact info is on both those sites.
All right. Well, Neil, thank you so much for your time today and sharing some of the insights you've learned on your journey. It's been really good. I know my audience is really going to appreciate that. So, Neil, I appreciate this interview. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Knowledge for Men podcast. Hundreds of interviews and 1 million downloads later, we're continuing to build an international movement, and we've just started. So if you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and leave a review in iTunes. It really helps to grow the podcast. Guys, 2015 is the official year of living with purpose, where every day you do only the things that matter to you. You wake up, live with purpose, and take massive action towards the life you want. Check out kfmfree.com to get free tools I've created to help you crush life. Again, that's kfmfree.com. This is your host, Andrew Farabee, and I'll see you in the next episode.